Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're pickling some eggs. As you can see, some of you have asked for me to share the recipe with yourselves. It has been a little while, so I do apologize for taking my time to bring this video out to you. However, today we are doing pickled eggs. As you can see here, okay guys, I have a couple of variations of pickled eggs. Like with the cucumber pickles, you can literally make anything you want. You can make them spicy, you can make them sweet. It is totally up to you and down to your preference. However, in this recipe, guys, I'm going to share with you the baseline of the pickled eggs. And then you can adjust this further on as you go. The best thing is to make the basic one, taste it, and then experiment as you go on. So without further ado, guys, I'm going to be making a 2-litre jar. I've got this one, luckily enough, from a local cheapie. You can buy those jars, big jars, probably about £5 to £7, but this is actually from Pickled Eggs. The only thing I did, guys, is don't forget to disinfect it first of all. I've repurchased some fresh metal lids to fit on those. After a little while, okay, the metal lids do go a bit manky, especially if they are from the fish and chip shop, because they kind of used a lot and they get wet and they get manky. So it's not something I suggest you do. You can do, but it's cheap enough to be able to buy your own lids. If you are pickling the eggs for a really long-term storage, because those guys can pretty much last indefinitely, I suggest to use one of those glass clip top like Kilner jars, because you don't have to worry about metal lids. Nonetheless, guys, over the time, any vinegar content and lids, they will just deteriorate over the time. But we are talking about quite a long time anyway. But if you want to be on the safe side, then use a glass jar. So I've got my sterilized 2-litre jar. You might be wondering how many eggs you're going to put inside it. Well, to be fair, it all depends on the size of your eggs, and it's literally between 16 and 20 eggs. It also depends, like in here, I've got some onion pieces, I've got some dill pieces, like whole dill, little flowers. So it depends if you kind of bulking it up for something else. For the instance of this video, I'm just doing a bog standard with a bit of garlic, but I'll share with this you in a minute. Alternatively as well, guys, you can, as you can see, you can play around and have fun with that one. Here I have the addition of some dried beetroot, and it gives the vinegar a really nice pinkish reddish color. So when you take the eggs out, they have a tinge to them. So when you cut it open, you can see the little sort of reddish pinky skin, and they're still nice and white on the inside. So if you're preparing those eggs, for example, like a devilish eggs for the party, then it kind of just makes it a little bit more fun, okay? At the same time, you can use turmeric to basically make your water slightly be orangey yellow. Yes, of course, it will impact the flavor of your eggs. You have to kind of really like the turmeric to be able to do that. However, it is still options there, but this is something, as I said, you can play around as you go along. So without further ado, guys, let's boil and cool some eggs. I've got the saucepan behind me, the eggs are boiling, so I shall see you when they're nice, boiled and cool. So here are my eggs, guys. If you're wondering how long it takes to boil an egg, when you're doing this quantity, guys, it takes between 9 and 12 minutes. Okay, it's better to be on the safe side, okay, because you don't want to have an undercooked egg in your pickles. It's just not a nice thing. I know some people say you can overcook your eggs, and it's not particularly nice because it gives them, the yolk becomes a bit more crumbly and the whites become a little bit more tough. However, for this instance, guys, it particularly doesn't really matter, considering the whole aspect of after we peel the eggs and put them in the vinegar. Vinegar as an acid will tighten up the egg whites anyway, so they will become kind of really tough, not say rubbery, but they will become harder anyway. So don't really worry too much about overboiling them, just make sure they're cooked. If you're unsure, guys, then just boil one spare. Boil one spare and then open it up and make sure it's cooked. So as simple as that. So now is the slightly tedious job is getting those eggs peeled, okay? Unfortunately, sometimes, as you probably would know, depending on the position of the yolk, sometimes the yolk is a bit too close to the end, so to the edge of it, like this, which is not particularly nice. So it depends, and again, if you are making them for the purpose of having your devilish eggs, then yes, unfortunately, they're not particularly going to be the best example of the egg for you. However, if you're pickling them, again, it's absolutely fine. However, the exposed yolk will cloud the vinegar ever so slightly. Again, if you're just eating them as they are, then there's no issue at all, so don't worry about it, okay? So let me just get them peeled for you, and I shall see you in a second. So the eggs have been peeled and cooled, okay? One thing, guys, to remember, please make sure that you do rinse your eggs after you peel them, okay? Any tiny bit of the shell, the brown shell, will cause you a problem, and it will discolor in the vinegar, and it's going to make it look like a really dull dishwater, and we really, really don't want that. So next things, okay, we are making now the vinegar solution to go inside the eggs. So I am making this to my preferable taste, and as I mentioned before, guys, it's 2 parts vinegar to 1 part water, okay? So I'm going to put that on. So I here have 4 cups of vinegar, and I'm going to have 2 cups of water. Okay, it's a little bit too much to fill the jar, I think. Anyway, if you find that, guys, it's difficult to guess, okay, because I can't just get the hand in there with the eggs, put them in, take them out, because my hand doesn't fit. It's kind of like you kind of take it or lose it type thing scenario. So make sure you produce a little bit more, and then you can always store this vinegar solution for your future use for something else. So 2 to 1, so I've got this 4 cups and 2 cups, okay. So next thing, okay, we're adding on, let's go with salt. So I have 2 tablespoons of salt. And again, if you don't like them too salty, then you don't have to use that, okay. So the idea is, I'm guessing this on the volume is just over a litre worth of liquid into there because of the volume of eggs. Again, all depends how much you ram them in there, and the size of the shape of your jar, and kind of in the size of your eggs as well. So we're based on just over a litre here, so hopefully that works. So anyway, 2 tablespoons of salt. We have almost a cup of sugar. I know it sounds like a lot, but I do like my pickles sweet, even the eggs, okay? And because we're using more vinegar than water, it will help, in my opinion anyway. So this is how it is, okay? And I then have 2 tablespoons of mustard seeds. In this instance, I'm going for the black mustard seeds. I kind of like, guys, the idea of, you know, you eat with your eyes, and visually, for example, even in the jar, in this instance, I use the yellow mustard seeds, and it just kind of, it just pops in the color in the jar, so it just looks a little bit nicer. But again, it doesn't matter, you use what you want, okay? So next thing, I have 2 tablespoons of dill seeds, okay, because it's not the season for dill now. I had my dill is all being dried, so no more fresh flowers. However, in this instance here, I had some fresh dill flowers, which is, again, it looks much nicer, much more appealing in the jar, but taste-wise, flavor-wise, it's okay to use the seeds, okay? And then I have here, I've got 4 cloves of garlic, and I have some peppercorns, probably about a tablespoon of peppercorns, okay? Not peppercorns, peppercorns. And I have 4 cloves of garlic, okay? So with the garlic, I'm not intending to boil that. I'm just going to crush it, just to break it with a wooden spoon, which is 20 years old, believe it or not. So garlic goes in there. And all we are doing now, right, guys, is we're awakening those spices, and we're melting the sugar and the salt, which is the main thing, okay? What also you might gonna do, and I think I might do this in this instance, I'm just gonna grab a bay leaf and put that in there as well. Ta-da! Bay leaf. I've got some dried bay leaves. I'm gonna put, I think I might put a couple. The bay leaves adds a wonderful, wonderful fragrance, and if you ever had bay leaf in pickles, if you make your own, you know exactly what it does to the pickles. It's just the aroma, sheer aroma. So I'm going to put a couple of them in there. And I'll kind of close the jar. The vinegar I'm using is a 5% vinegar from Amazon. Okay, you can use lesser percentage vinegar, guys. It's okay if you use a 4%. It's not the end of the world, which I know some people seem to have an issue with. However, again, just adjust your acidity to taste, so it's slightly bit less percentage. If you're using it, just add more vinegar, less water. It's simple as. It's not as scary as people seem to think when it comes to the acidity in the vinegar. Anything that's highly acidic, guys, if your stuff is sterilized, you're not going to have a problem, so don't worry. And that always, my main key to you guys when I do my brewing recipes or preserving recipes is too many people that scaremongering people with many, many things. It's important to know, so long as you follow your cleanliness, your disinfecting thing, or the things that you have, if you use the correct proportions of things and you know acidity and everything else, you'll be absolutely fine, so don't be scared. So whilst this is dissolving, you can, at the time, actually add malt vinegar if you wanted to, but I don't like it. I like my eggs like either really pink or red, or in nice clear clear vinegar. Okay, so without further ado then, let's load up those beauties in there. I'm going to start, because I had a couple of the ones that had the open bumps, if you wish. I'm going to start with a whole egg, so we're just going to drop them in there. Unfortunately, you can't position them, you're just going to lob them. This is how it goes. Okay. Hopefully, sorry, let's do that way. Okay, right, let's go. Go, go, go. Oh, they are going to be not filling that jar, I can see that. But that's okay. As long as the jar is filled with vinegar, we're good. Look, for some reason, those eggs look actually far bigger in that jar. And in you go. Right. So all we're going to do is just wait for this to dissolve, which is almost there. So let me put this aside. So, okay, so you can see now, guys, I clearly remember doing this, and we had, I'm pretty sure, about 20 eggs, but not quite there, but it's not a problem at all, okay? They're going to go in the fridge because I'm not making them to go into the really, really long-term storage. We are going to just put them in the fridge, so just going to put the liquid in. Here we go. Perfection, okay. So, oh, this vinegar. So long as they're all submerged, and you can see, guys, okay, they're floating a little bit, but that's okay. You can, as I said, you can add on a little bit of onion there. That's like, you can experiment as much as you like, okay. And another thing, guys, for people that think that you need to like purchase specific jars, you can see I just poured a boiling hot solution into the jar that wasn't even that hot. So it's the triumph really to the jars. When you reuse the jars, they're so much more heat tolerant than the ones that you buy. And all we're going to do, we're just going to put the lid on it, guys. And that's it. We are done. This storage, okay, obviously you have to let it cool down before you do a lot with it. Once it's cooled down, you can put this in the fridge for longer term. However, guys, it will still sit in your pantry. We're having more percentage vinegar to water solution here, so they will happily sit. Yes, this jar is not one of those things with the little popper thing. It's not been a hot water bath, which we don't do with eggs anyway, but because of the high acidity solution, they will be absolutely fine sitting in a pantry for at least a year without refrigeration. Even longer, guys, even longer. So anyway, you can put this in the fridge. Again, if you read many recipes or people saying, oh my god, this is ready to eat in 24 hours, I strongly suggest not. 24 hours is not the time for the vinegar to penetrate through the egg. Yes, it'll give it a slightly vinegary solution, but to get the full result and the full effect of the pickled eggs, you'll need to leave them for at least 2 months. So hopefully, guys, you have enjoyed the recipe. If you have any questions, please comment down below, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye.